What's up guys, Matt back again with another unboxing video, and today we're going to be reviewing the Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black Master Lees from Ichiban Kuji Super Dragon Ball Heroes Saga. Before we dive into the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell, like the video, comment your thoughts down below for us to discuss, follow me on my socials, and consider becoming a YouTube member to enter into our monthly giveaways and Discord server so our community can help you on your Dragon Ball figure collecting journey. This figure is based on Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black from Super Dragon Ball Heroes card game. The figure is based on one of Goku Black's Super Dragon Ball Heroes cards. It's even featured on the box. This is an Ichiban Kuji release, so if you'd like to learn more about Ichiban Kuji, check the video in my description below. This figure sells for an average price of about $60 US on the market, though I've seen some crazy fluctuations in price. If you're interested in buying the figure for cheap, then use my discount code PEACHES24 at bashwincollectibles.com to get 10% off of your first order and 5% off of every future order afterwards. This figure was released on November 20th, 2020. Goku Black stands at about 9.5 inches tall, weighs 1 pound 15.5 ounces, weighs 1 pound 15.5 ounces in box, weighs 1 pound 3 ounces on his own, and the figure comes with his upper body, lower body, and support. All right, another Ichiban Kuji. So this is one that I picked this one up when I didn't pick this one up during a period where I was just taking a break from collecting. It was a while ago. I was in the middle of moving to Texas and a bunch of stuff was happening, and obviously it was the same year as COVID was going on, so I never got the chance to get this. The only figure that I really had from this set was the Super Saiyan God Trunks and the Dark Broly Last One prize, so I will eventually collect the entire set, as you guys know, but let's talk about this guy today, Goku Black. Probably my favorite villain from Dragon Ball Super. I forget that this is not just a Super Dragon Ball Heroes character. It's kind of sad that there's more Super Dragon Ball Heroes Kuji than Dragon Ball Super Kuji, but I digress. He's definitely my favorite villain from Dragon Ball Super, besides Moro, but that's a manga exclusive character for now. Yeah, I know he's highly popular with fans. Goku Black sells, man. I'm surprised there isn't more Goku Black within Ichiban Kuji. I would think that he was near a similar tier as like Gogeta and Broly and Goku and Gohan and Vegeta, so very, very interesting that we don't see him very often. He is the second Master Lees of Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black, though, so I will keep that in mind. So as a character choice, I'm going to give him a 4 out of 5. It would have been nice to get a different form for Goku Black, maybe his base form, or having him in the Zamasu outfit, which I know they've done in a Dokkan Battle Kuji, but this is completely on, Master Lees. I would have preferred to see something like that. Plus, when I think of Super Dragon Ball Heroes, just like my Vegito review recently, this is not a character that I really think of. I feel like that's kind of a waste of a spot. I know the Crimson Mask Saiyan is a notable part of Super Dragon Ball Heroes, but this is Goku Black. This is not the Crimson Mask Saiyan. So it's not quite the same character, and with that in mind, I think the character choice would be a 4 out of 5. His likeness, it's not as bad as I thought it'd be. I think it looks okay. There's something about it, though. I feel like it's a little flat. Like, there are some sculpted in details, but I feel like if they added a few extra, I don't know, paint and and detailed applications onto his face, it would look a little better. It's not horrible though. I actually kind of like it. I think he looks pretty good. It doesn't look as good as the source that he's based off of, but he looks pretty good. His smile is like a little iffy, but I really don't think it looks all that bad. I'm actually somewhat impressed. From pictures, he looks awful in pictures. I've seen the production images that they shared of this thing looks really bad because I guess they were taking it at a very unflattering angle, but when you look directly in his face, he's pretty good. You know, I'm going to give him a 4 out of 5 for his likeness. I'm somewhat impressed with the way he looks. It's not perfect. There definitely is something that's not quite right there, but for the most part, it's pretty good. Sculpt quality, pretty good as well. The only thing that I have a problem with this figure is how they sculpted his hair. I'm not a big fan of like the one hair that's pushing out from the side, which I think is in the source, but it just looks kind of awkward on it. That's not a huge deal for me, but I think the sculpt has been done very well for the most part. I like that his gi is flowing and blowing in the wind. His ring is like flying off of his ear. There are some things though that I wasn't really happy with. I don't know if it's just my figure, but his right leg, if you look at his right foot, it looks like there's a clear separation between the gray bottom of it and the white part of it, which is kind of sloppy, unfortunately. It is one of those figures that comes in 2 halves instead of whole, but it still came out pretty good. So I'm going to give the sculpt a 4 out of 5 just because of, you know, I don't really like the way that they basically pasted together the bottoms of his shoes onto the whites of them. So could have been done a little cleaner, but it still looks pretty good. Sculpt quality is 4 out of 5. Paint and shading is also pretty good. Nearly perfect. You can see a lot of notable shading on the gray part of his gi, actually. There's some blacks mixed in there. But I think that's about it. There might be some subtle shading on his boots, but I don't think so. If it is, it's very, very subtle. Or that's just a matte finish that they used on there that kind of emulates that. Otherwise, though, this figure has no shading elsewhere. No shading in his hair. It's just, you know, a very blanket pink, which is kind of disappointing. It just makes the figure fall a little flat, which is probably what's going on with his face, too. The lack of shading all across the figure just makes him look somewhat flat. So I will give him a 4 out of 5. For paint shading. I do like what they did with the gi, but it wasn't quite enough. It is nice in contrast to the Koko ni Kiwamari Goku, which has purple or pink kind of mixed into his gi rather than blacks. So they contrast kind of interestingly to each other, but I think that one is definitely the superior one. And then finally, size and scale. It's perfect. He's actually quite big. He's bigger than I expected him to be. He does look a little bit bigger next to some figures, but he's pretty good. 8.5 or 9.5 inches is pretty good, even when he's crouched down like this. So pretty respectable height. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. He's going to pair well with nearly every single Ichiban Kuji figure that you have. Just keep in mind that he does look a little bit on the bigger side for scaling. I put him next to my Vegito Blue on my Super Dragon Ball Hero shelf, the Vegito Blue that I recently reviewed. And it is kind of funny looking at them next to each other because Goku Black is noticeably bigger. I think I compared them here in this video if you saw it earlier. So it's interesting to kind of look at that. But yeah, size and scale is a 5 out of 5. But yeah, you know what? I really expected this thing to be kind of crappy, if I'm being honest. I love Goku Black. I love Ichiban Kuji. But yeah, there were some figures in this Kuji that, you know, in their pictures, and, you know, my boy Sean owns this figure. It just seemed like it was bad, but honestly, I think it's kind of good. So I'm going to walk away and I'm going to give this Goku Black a 4 out of 5. Thank you all again for watching today's video. But before we move on to the upcoming giveaways this month, I'd like to mention my new merch that's launched. We've got shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more. If you want to support me a bit further and rock some of the merch on the channel, please check out the shop tab on my channel. But until the next video, guys, I will see you all later.